You're not burned out. You're misaligned. You've optimized your calendar, your supplements, your routines, and you're still tired. It's not discipline, it's identity. I'll show you why your willpower keeps crashing and how to make discipline automatic. Here's how to rewire your identity for legacy-level performance. You've probably tried harder, worked longer, optimized everything, and yet your energy still leaks. That's not your fault. It's your operating system. This video will show you how to use neuroscience-backed techniques to rewire how you think about willpower, discipline, identity, and trust. Here's what you'll learn. The four-step Wolf method that rewires your identity. How to kill burnout without losing ambition. How to build systems powered by trust, not control. Let's start by killing the myth that discipline comes from trying harder. Welcome back. In part 1, we discovered why willpower-based discipline is like trying to win a marathon by sprinting the entire race. Impressive for a few minutes, then catastrophic. We met the Sprint Cheetah, who burns through your finite willpower reserves while insisting on doing it manually and all by itself, and the Wolf, who operates on the infinite fuel of being yourself while leveraging other resources. And we learned that high achievers who seem to have unlimited discipline aren't actually more disciplined. They've just figured out how to align their cheetah and wolf so discipline feels automatic instead of exhausting. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how to do this. But first, let me tell you something that's going to sound completely backwards. The secret to building discipline is to stop trying to be disciplined. I know, that sounds like telling someone the secret to losing weight is to stop trying to lose weight. But stick with me. This isn't about more effort. It's a shift from burnout survival to identity-driven leadership. From the cheetah to the wolf, and eventually into something far more powerful. The framework I'm about to share is called the Wolf method, and it stands for W, whisper the identity, O, one micro action, L, listen for the echo, F, feed the loop. This isn't about forcing yourself to change. It's about becoming someone for whom the change is natural. And it's about understanding that you don't have to do it alone. Step 1 is to whisper the identity. Choose an identity statement that you want to grow into. This isn't about fake it till you make it affirmations that make you feel ridiculous. This is about planting a seed that will grow with evidence. The key is to make it simple, specific, and slightly uncomfortable, like trying on clothes that are one size too big. You want to grow into it, not force it. But here's the crucial difference from the Sprint Cheetah approach. Your identity should include the wisdom of the pack, of leveraging other resources, people, or systems, or artificial intelligence. Instead of, I want to be more productive, try, I'm a finisher who builds systems. Instead of, I should exercise more, try, I'm someone who moves daily. Instead of, I need to stop procrastinating, try, I'm someone who takes immediate action. So pick one identity statement, just one. The wolf gets confused by mixed signals, but it gets very clear about consistent ones. Step 2 is one micro-action. Identify the smallest possible action that would count as evidence for your new identity. This is where most people go wrong. They choose actions that require the Sprint Cheetah to show up. But we want actions so small that the wolf can handle them, even on your worst day. If your identity is, I'm a writer, your micro-action might be writing one sentence. If it's, I'm someone who moves daily, it might be doing one push-up. If it's, I'm organized, it might be clearing one small area of your desk. You might be thinking, that's too easy. How will that help me achieve my goals? Or real discipline means doing it all yourself. Here's the thing. We're not trying to achieve your goals directly. We're trying to become the kind of person for whom those goals are inevitable. When you complete even a tiny action aligned with your identity, your brain releases dopamine, but not the kind you think. There are actually two types of dopamine. Reward dopamine, which you get from completing tasks, and identity dopamine, which you get from acting in alignment with who you believe you are. Identity dopamine is more powerful because it doesn't just make you feel good. It literally rewires your neural pathways to make that behavior more automatic next time. Dr. B.J. Fogg from Stanford calls this success momentum. Each tiny success makes the next one more likely, not because you're building willpower, but because you're building identity. And here's the beautiful part. When your identity includes leveraging others, you get additional dopamine from successful validation and collaboration. Your brain literally rewards you for working smarter, not just harder. Step 3 is listen for the echo. Pay attention to how completing that micro-action shifts something inside you. After you take your micro-action, there's a moment, usually lasting just a few seconds, where your brain says, huh, I did that. That's me. This internal acknowledgement is the echo, and it's the most powerful part of the entire process. Most people miss this step completely. They're so focused on checking boxes and moving to the next task that they never notice the subtle identity shift happening inside them. By high achievers, the ones who seem to have effortless discipline, they instinctively tune into this echo. They feel the tiny identity shift and let it sink in. So after you take your micro action, pause for just 5 seconds. Don't rush to the next task. Don't immediately raise the bar. Just notice the feeling of being the kind of person who does that thing. Step 4 is feed the loop. Repeat the process until your new identity feels true. This is where consistency trumps intensity. It's better to write 1 sentence every day for a week than to write 10 pages once and then nothing for a month. Each repetition adds another piece of evidence to support your new identity. And as your wolf grows stronger in this direction, something magical happens. Actions that once required the Sprint Cheetah now start to feel natural. You're no longer fighting against your identity. You're expressing it. Here's what's beautiful about this process. Identity changes compound in ways that behavior changes don't. When you force yourself to do something through willpower, each repetition depletes your reserves. It gets harder over time. But when you do something because it's who you are, each repetition strengthens your identity. It gets easier over time. This is why high achievers who figured this out seem to have unlimited discipline. They're not using discipline at all. They're just being themselves. Once you've solidified one identity, which usually takes 3 to 4 weeks of consistent micro-actions, you can begin what I call identity stacking. This is where you choose a second identity but naturally builds on the first one. For example, if you've established I'm someone who moves daily, you might stack I'm someone who prioritizes recovery. If you've established I'm a finisher, you might stack I'm someone who starts before and ready. The key is that each new identity should feel like a natural extension of a previous one, not a completely separate challenge. If you're a high achiever, you actually have a massive advantage in this process that you might not realize. You already have evidence of being someone who can transform their identity. You've done it before, probably multiple times. At some point, you became someone who delivers results. At some point, you became someone who handles pressure. At some point, you became someone who figures things out. You didn't force these identities through willpower. They emerged through consistent evidence over time. The Wolf method just makes this process conscious and intentional instead of accidental. Here's where this gets really exciting. As you build multiple aligned identities, they start to reinforce each other in powerful ways. I'm someone who moves daily, plus I'm a finisher, plus I'm someone who prioritizes recovery, equals a person for whom discipline feels effortless, because all their identities are working in harmony. This is what neuroscientists call identity coherence. And it's the secret behind those people who seem to have their entire life dialed in. So here's your challenge for the next 30 days. Pick one identity that, if you believed it completely, would make discipline in your target area automatic. Then break it down into what you would need to do to achieve that identity. Choose one micro action that would count as evidence you are making progress towards it. Make it so small, it feels almost ridiculous. Take that action daily. After you complete it, pause for 5 seconds and listen for the echo. But here's the deepest insight of all. This isn't really about discipline. It's about self-trust. Every time you make a commitment to yourself and keep it, even a tiny one, you're building evidence that you're someone who can be trusted, someone who follows through, someone whose word means something. And when you trust yourself completely, discipline becomes irrelevant. You don't need to force yourself to do things because you know you'll do them. It's just who you are. A Sprint Cheetah will always have a place in your life for those moments when you need to push through genuine challenges. But he shouldn't be running the show. The Wolf should be your primary operating system, with the Sprint Cheetah as backup support when needed. And remember, you don't need more discipline. You just need to trust the process and who you are becoming. What's one micro action you can take over the next 30 days? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this and want to hear more, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. And finally, if you liked this video, you'll love this video on why willpower is a lie.